Hello, everybody. We are live. So exciting.
Hi.
Um, Quick note before we kick off. So we have our chat here. So feel free to drop us notes throughout the event, drop your questions, just say hi, however you're feeling. But with that, let me dive into our program. So excited. So hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Gifford. I am from the GlossGenius team. And I am thrilled to share a little bit about our mission today. So today we're here for every business owner who wants to win on social media. We're going to talk about how to find the thing that helps your brand stand out and how to turn attention into actual booked clients and revenue. We're also going to chat about how to use smart tools so you're not buried in admin and actually have time to keep creating. In order to kind of get to the bottom of how to do all this, we've brought on somebody who has done it all. So this is the ASMR queen and owner of the Skincare Cottage, Morgan Barber. Welcome, Morgan.
Hi. Thanks, Nicole. I'm so excited to be here today. And I always tell people if I can do it, anyone can do it. I started my entire journey with, no planning, not a fancy studio. So I started very humbly and I grew something big. So yeah.
Yes, I love that. And Morgan really just isn't, just an esthetician. She's someone who's built a following. She's built a viral identity. And so we're absolutely thrilled for her to join us tonight and cover some of her best tips for all of you. But before we kind of dive into the meat of our program, I want to take a step back, and I always love doing this with our crew that joins us live for these webinars. If you could, in the chat, let us know your name, where you're based, what you do, and in the spirit of our theme for tonight, your social handle. Maybe we can get a little follow train going between everybody who's joined this evening. So I see some typers. I always love to see how many people join us from all across the country. Scottsdale, Arizona, Denver, Riverside, California, amazing. Virginia, Dallas. I know, this is crazy. Don't forget to drop those social handles. Amazing, guys. Melanie from Michigan, hello. San Jose, California. Oh my gosh, the chat is moving too quick.
That's great.
Morgan's excited, I'm sure, to see them. Amazing, guys. Well, thank you so much. And let's all, maybe take a second, whether it's now or later, you can scroll back, give a follow to somebody that you've met tonight. Let's build this skincare community, this beauty and wellness community on this webinar today. So exciting. All right, guys. Well, feel free to keep it coming. But I want to maybe jump a little bit into our first section here. So this is really all about finding your unique perspective on social, which is such a critical first step to succeeding here. So Morgan, let's start all the way at the beginning. When we first spoke, you told me that you started your business on a whim in 2020 with zero savings. You had just left a job, the world was shutting down, and you decided to take a leap of faith and open a suite. What was that day one feeling like, and how did you even find your very first clients?
It was terrifying. I had no money in the bank, and I was literally just taking videos of family and friends and posting their face, hoping for the best. And I think that pressure is kind of what forced me to get creative. I didn't have a marketing budget. Like I said, I had no money in the bank. So I kind of made my content my marketing budget in a way. So I spent every second that I wasn't with a client trying to figure out what would be something like scroll stopping for the socials. So being savvy with social media changed everything for me.
It's amazing. And, for folks who are familiar with Morgan, I'm sure you'd agree that her content is positively scroll stopping. So let's get a little bit more into unpacking how you were able to achieve this. Because, I'm sure some folks in the audience are curious. But yeah, so now you're really famous for this concept, like the sounds of facials, this incredible ASMR style that has racked up millions of views and hundreds of thousands of followers, but you didn't actually start out doing ASMR, at least not on purpose. So how did you land on that specific, sound and that specific concept that's become such a cornerstone of your brand?
So it was a complete accident. I used to post facial videos with trending audios. I would do different trends, but people in my comments kept telling me to take the music off of the video because they wanted to, hear the ASMR, the cleanser sounds, all of the things. And I always loved ASMR, and I didn't realize that I was kind of already doing like visual ASMR and giving people that visual tingle. But once I leaned into that niche, it changed everything. I went from 1,000 views a video to 3 million like overnight.
Incredible. Yeah, that's the stuff dreams are made of for
Yeah.
sure. Um, and a huge lesson for everybody watching. And I think when you first told me this, it kind of really struck me that sometimes your audience will tell you what they love and what's really resonating for them. And it's just really critical that you listen, right? And sometimes they won't tell you outright. In your case, they did. They literally said,
Mhm.
hey, take this audio off so I can enjoy the sounds.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just a matter of maybe like following the data, following, what's getting the most comments, the most likes, and then kind of chasing that down. So anyway, quick tip for the audience to maybe consider leaning into what your audience is already telling you. So Morgan, to kind of continue on this theme, once that video hit 3 million views, how did it change your business overnight? What was the next thing you experienced?
It was wild. I went from being like so worried about rent and having like maybe one client a week to suddenly having several new clients a day for like a month straight after that first viral video. And at that point, I had never experienced anything like that. And it was amazing. So, yeah, I felt like showing my work through my ASMR content really helped because I felt like when people came in, they already knew me and my service. So it was amazing.
Yeah. Must have been really special to feel like there was already like trust and a relationship built before people showed up for their appointment. So
Yeah.
unique. Amazing. Um, so the other thing, Morgan, I think you've done so excellently is that your brand is super differentiated visually. It's very cute, fun, approachable. How did you kind of uncover this point of view and like the visual sort of aspect of your brand?
Well, thanks. But just being myself, being authentically me, and kind of live that through my brand. I feel like people can really tell when you're being yourself, and I think that they really respond to it as well. Um, my brand also definitely helps me out in my area as well because I feel like it's very cutesy and all the things. But my best advice would just be to lean into something that's you and
Yeah,
yeah.
I love that. Yeah, no, definitely. I think being authentic to yourself always reads as authentic. I mean, kind of goes without saying in
Yeah.
some ways, but I love how you've kind of leaned into the things that you love, which makes being, sort of passionate and out there in your brand so much easier.
Yes.
Love that. Amazing. And I know you've been enjoying too how you're able to kind of show this in your GlossGenius platform. Have you
Mhm.
found that an easy thing to do as well?
Yes, absolutely. It's been super easy, and I love how it goes so well with my theme. It's really cute, and I love getting to expand on that.
Amazing. Very cool. Well, I wanted to kind of create a little activity inspired by some of the things Morgan shared with me about finding her unique niche and brand. I think this is one of the biggest challenges I sometimes hear from owners, folks in our community, that figuring out like what is that core brand DNA that they want to kind of live can be a little bit challenging. But this activity is just a way to kind of help us identify our niche. So for folks in the audience, you can feel free to, type this in the chat as we go. Maybe you want to get a little piece of paper, a notebook. But this is a fun activity that might help you get a little bit closer to identifying that niche and that core brand DNA. So the first piece is, and I just want everybody to reflect on this for a second. My clients always say my treatments or services feel blank. So hopefully it's taking you back to your days of doing Mad Libs. But think about this. Think about the things that your clients, your audience, they're already telling you about you and what you do. So fill in that blank. Again, you can type it in the chat. You can write it down on a piece of paper or a notebook. And then moving on, our second Mad Lib is the one thing that I do that most others do not is blank. So think about folks that are, you know, maybe your competitors, people who are doing things that are similar to you, but they're not doing this thing. What is the thing that you do just a little bit differently that makes you unique? Okay, so I'll pause there for a second. We got our first Mad Lib, our second Mad Lib. Maybe you're writing this down. Maybe you're putting it in the chat. I see some notes coming through. Exciting. And then the last aspect here is combining the two. So first blank, then second blank. I help people feel blank through blank. Okay, so it might not be perfect. It might not be one-to-one, but it might help you get a little bit to the bottom of what makes you special, right? So I'm seeing some folks type in the chat again. You're welcome to do that. Welcome to make this a little personal exercise in a notebook, either way. But this might help you kind of get to the bottom of what makes your brand different from others, which is important. Love that. So I see some people sharing some thoughts. Tony making people feel luxurious and special. Sandra building their appointment to their needs and what's going on in life. That is so important. I love that. Professional, dependable, beautiful in their bare skin. That's a gorgeous one, Stephanie. I love that.
I love the affirmation card idea. That's pretty cool.
Right? That's such a cool one. I love Nicole, confident and new through relaxing but effective treatments. Yes. Amazing. So I would encourage everybody to take this thread with them and think about, you know, what this could look like in the ways that they show up online, in person, in their marketing. You know, how are you going to communicate to your clients and your prospective clients this like core aspect of your brand? So anyway, thanks everybody for participating in this activity. Hope it was a little bit helpful, but much more where that came from. So let's keep moving. Cool. So let's move on to section 2 here, which is around how to grow your business alongside your brand. So this was really kind of all about how, you know, once you've found your unique brand, it's time to get creative with marketing it. So I know we've been talking and we've been, you know, saying these words, brand and marketing. So I also want to take a step back and kind of make super clear the difference between the two in case it's interesting to folks in the audience. So if you're not familiar, your brand is like the foundation of your business and what it does, you know, the messaging that encapsulates your business and what it does. But social media and marketing is the megaphone that shouts that brand out to the world and helps get you in front of clients. So you can think of brand as something that's, you know, long-term, it remains consistent, it creates relationships, supports retention and sustainable growth. So it's the, again, that foundational aspect of how your business shows up. Whereas marketing is more short-term, it's more evolving, it can evolve constantly, it creates needs and it drives those immediate bookings. So again, what we kind of just chatted about was that brand side. We're about to dive a bit more into the marketing side, but hopefully this is a helpful framework for thinking about, you know, those two core aspects of how your business shows up. Feel free to drop any questions or comments in the chat as we go. But with that, I know that there will be many folks here that want to know some of your top tactics to market your brand, Morgan. So tell us first a little bit about social media. What are some of the principles that you always follow on social media to be successful there?
So first and foremost, I think if you feel like you're posting too much, you're posting just enough and you're doing a great job. Posting consistently really worked in my favor, and showing up in that way resonates with your audience. And, you know, it creates that steam or stream of viewers' attention.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that. I feel like that's something that I've heard from a few folks who are creators like you is that, you know, posting a lot is not a bad thing. Definitely keep posting, post through the worry that you're posting too much.
Yeah.
So I love that. Amazing. So obviously, you know, Morgan, you're proof positive that social media is so important to growing a brand, but we know from our community that it's also super important to think beyond social and consider the customer journey holistically. So, you know, once you engage them on social, you have to think about how you can continue to that great brand experience from booking to post service. So it's like a whole, you know, kind of process. So I'm curious, how else are you marketing to your clients to keep them engaged after maybe hooking them initially via social media?
So I do use the text and email marketing through GlossGenius. It definitely helps keep my clients engaged, and it helps me boost revenue during my slower months. Like the summertime is always slow for me. But I love using it to market gift cards. This past Valentine's Day, I was able to sell a lot of gift cards using the a Valentine's Day text message to send out to clients. And I'm also I one of my favorite things to do, and something that I did in the very beginning that really helped with this, was getting creative and like having event days. I would do like, for example, a Valentine's event day where I would do like a chocolate covered strawberry facial, and I would have treats and little goodie bags. And it was something that my clients loved doing. And I would do them for all kinds of different holidays, or I would do like I did a Star Wars one. I mean, I was just doing some off the wall stuff, but people really loved it. And I was a little nervous at first with that. I was concerned that people wouldn't keep coming back and they were just coming because it was a discounted rate for the special event. But those people actually have stuck with me throughout my career, and it's been amazing having them as regular clients. They love the experience so much, and it was so memorable for them. They just kept coming back.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think that sometimes is like a little bit of a fear, right? That you're taking kind
Mhm.
of a risk in, investing in these kinds of special events, but there is something really unique about building extra rapport and extra special experiences with, new clients. So I love this idea, and I'm glad to hear it's been working so well for you. Um, with that, I think the other piece that's really cool about the idea of event days is you're not like waiting for permission to do something special
Mhm.
or grow your business, right? You're creating the moment yourself. And even if it's something far out like a Star Wars day, I love this idea of like not waiting around, just seizing the moment and putting yourself out there, which I think is really unique. So anyway, very resonant for me. But I'm curious. I wanted to pose a question to the audience because I wonder if any folks here have, held a special event in their space before, maybe experimented with this kind of concept of like an event day or a special sort of short promotion in sort of a time boxed way in your space. Tell us about your most successful one. Let's like all inspire each other in the audience. Maybe we can come away with some amazing ideas. Any special events or promos that have worked particularly well for folks here? I see Claudia sharing doing sound bath events, which is so cool. Jessica's doing a Botox party this weekend with sales. So clever. Oh yeah, Nikki, Halloween, booze and Brazilians. Oh my gosh, wow, that sounds really fun. Very
Oh,
cool.
wow.
So fun. No, I think it's really, really clever again to not wait for that permission. Just kind of, again, put yourself out there, get creative. And you never know who you can attract with these like special promos and moments. Very cool. Well, keep them coming, guys. I feel like there's a lot of good inspiration being shared. Um, Heather just brought up the idea that doing like a half off customer appreciation special and then kind of pairing that with a referral is a really great idea. I love that. Great. Awesome, guys. So I'm going to move on now to our third section, which is around how to turn followers into bookings. So, I know we've already started to speak a little bit on client retention and conversion, which are really, really critically important things to get right. And I think one of the biggest heartbreaks out there for creators is having viral content, but a quiet bank account. So, Morgan, I know you've been able to bridge this gap, and you talk about how you're constantly communicating with people in the DMs and through your site. How do you move someone from just, double tapping, liking your stuff to actually going ahead and booking an appointment?
It's about accessibility. I try to be like a best friend brand. If somebody asks me a question, I respond like I'm just talking to a friend. But realistically, I can't be in the DMs 24/7. That's just, again, not realistic. So that's why my booking site with GlossGenius is so important. When people click the link in my bio, it doesn't just look like a generic price list or anything. It feels like an extension of my Instagram because it's cute, it's pink and purple, it's organized. I think if your website feels sterile and your Instagram is fun and cute, you're going to lose people at the finish line.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that we like to call the digital front door, right? And I think there's something weird about when two critical digital front doors don't match up. So I think that's a very good
Yeah.
point. We see a lot of pros that spend, thousands on their treatment rooms, but zero time on their booking sites, which I would definitely advise against. Morgan, you've also mentioned that you get way more questions through your GlossGenius site than you ever did on Square, which was your previous software. Why do you think that is?
I think the layout is just easier, honestly. On other platforms, it felt kind of like a chore to find like the contact button or the about info page, but on GlossGenius, it's right there. People feel very comfortable asking me, "Hey, is this facial okay with me? Is it good for acne?" And it's directly on the page. So by the time they book, they're 100% confident in that service.
It's amazing. That's really great to hear. Yeah, and I'd love to share a little bit more in-depth detail here about the magic of the GlossGenius booking site. And I know we probably have a combination of folks in the audience who are already members of GlossGenius, maybe some people here who've not experienced it before. But I want to point out, and we've kind of alluded to this a little bit throughout. You can see Morgan's website here, by the way, so this will give you a great visual of what her booking site is actually like. But GlossGenius booking sites allow you to customize site design, fonts, and accent colors. And they also feature really clear ways, again, to Morgan's point, to book and also to get into contact. You can see those book now button and contact button right there at the top of the page and also further down too. These booking sites create a really strong and sophisticated first impression before clients even walk in the door too. So, you've already built this amazing social experience for them where they're starting to get to know you. They're moving down to your booking site where they're getting to know you even a bit more and feeling that brand continuity. And then boom, they're booking, they're walking in the door, and they've had an amazing best-in-class experience from start to finish. So imagine a better world where that's possible. It's pretty exciting. I also want to point out Morgan has this on her site, which I think is brilliant. You can easily advertise flexible payment options. So GlossGenius does offer buy now, pay later, which can significantly increase your average ticket value and secure upfront revenue. So it's really cool. We've actually seen that on average, GlossGenius professionals see 3 times higher ticket values after turning on buy now, pay later. So, it's a combination of having this great option that offers flexible payments for your clients. Then also you can advertise it with ease, again, improving that conversion to book now when people know they have a few options on the table, especially for those higher ticket services. And then another key feature, which you can see here too, are just kind of a little excerpt from Morgan's site, is customizable service descriptions and images, which is really critical. And not every platform offers this. It really allows you to put your services in the best possible branded light. You can sell, the transformations that you do, the end product, the experience, and frankly your brand, not just the time, when you have detail about each individual service, what it means, and an image of the service being done, in this case with Morgan. But by the way, you can put any image there, that makes sense. And then a couple of other quick call outs on the booking site for you guys, which might be of interest. So we have a really special booking experience after clicking that book now button. So it's super easy to navigate, login free. There's no need to put in a password or remember a password for clients, which creates a lot less friction for them. And it makes just setting appointments super simple for them and unlocks more client revenue in the process. I think it's really underestimated that abandoned bookings are one of the secret killers of revenue. And we know that difficult booking processes can actively deter new and repeat business. So, in a world where we're on our phones and we're ordering, Uber Eats or a car to our house in 30 seconds, that's the expectation for booking an appointment now too. People want to be able to do it quickly and without a lot of hurdles. So again, I would encourage you guys to keep that in mind. And then last call out here before we move on is our reserve with Google. So this is another really important feature, which Morgan expertly has turned on. So I wanted to give her her flowers for using this feature
Thanks.
because it's such a good one to use. You can see here Morgan's Google My Business page, which most business owners do have or can easily turn on with Google. And so we've actually found that businesses on GlossGenius have 60% higher appointment volume when they enable Reserve with Google. So this is compared to those who don't have it enabled. But again, this is a very significant increase in bookings. So in a really fast evolving industry where there are so many options out there, clients turn to AI and to search to look around and understand the providers that are out there. Making your business bookable on Google helps drive so much more traffic to your website. And then also helps you build your brand outside of your own properties. It's elsewhere on the web. It's not just your own site, your own social media. So overall, this really increases your revenue potential. Really, really great option out there for folks who are already using the platform or considering it. One of my favorite GlossGenius features, kind of a sleeper hit. And by the way, I'm seeing a couple of comments. Stephanie shared, if you want to switch to GlossGenius from another booking service, is it pretty simple to switch over? Yes, is the answer to that. We do offer free data transfer. So highly recommend if you guys are interested. We're going to share a little bit more about next steps at the end, but we make it very simple. So Stephanie, great question. And then Jasmine asked, can MedSpa use Google Booking? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no question. Amazing. All right, guys. Well, thank you for the questions. Keep them coming. And we're going to chat a little bit at the end about ways to get involved with GlossGenius if you're not yet using the platform too. Cool. And we got a question. This is kind of a GlossGenius specific question. So Morgan, I'm going to ask you now. Danielle asked, I'd love to know if Morgan requires a credit card when new clients book with her. Is that something that you request?
Yes, I do.
Very smart. We love that. Deposits are super, super great. Getting those cards on file is critical. So Danielle, yes, perfect. I agree. Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, on to section 4 here. And again, if you guys have questions for Morgan, we're going to spend some time at the end with dedicated Q&A time, but you're more than welcome to drop them throughout too. So do keep them coming. So this last section here is about creating the time to invest in your business and your brand. So Morgan, as your brand grew, you couldn't just rely on viral luck. You had to start acting like a CEO and managing an ever-growing clientele, which is so exciting, but of course creates new challenges. And by the way, being a social media creator is extremely time-consuming. So juggling it all could not have been simple. You moved over to GlossGenius because you were tired of the Square fees, but then you discovered, automation tools that really worked for you. So I'm curious if you could tell us a little bit about maybe that journey to switching over and how things have been going.
Oh yeah, the automation saved my life. Honestly, I'm really just not like a salesperson at all. I hate feeling like I'm bugging people to come back and see me. So before I had the automation, I just would not reach out, which was really just not good. But now with the 6-week reminder text messages that go out automatically, I'll be sitting at home and I'll see that 3 people rebooked, and I'm just sitting at home watching The Office and making money while I'm watching it.
I love that. That is goals, honestly. Okay, really quickly, I'm going to move to our next slide here, which kind of shares a few of your favorite features at a glance. But another helpful automation with GlossGenius are our appointment reminders and confirmations, which we hear, makes managing appointments and client expectations so simple with, making that manual outreach and confirmation a thing of the past. With more appointments comes more revenue. So I'm curious, Morgan, how do you keep track of and keep growing your earnings with GlossGenius?
So this is one of my favorite things. I have become completely obsessed with the GlossGenius goal setting tool. I'm pretty competitive with myself, so I love seeing the progress bar. If I'm only seeing that I'm like $200, $300 away from my goal for the week and I have an open spot, I'll go to Instagram and I'm like, what can I post to book that spot? And so I love doing that. It's posting with purpose.
Yes. Yeah, and I wonder if there's anybody else here who loves the goal setting feature. I think it's such a great one to kind of keep that pulse real time on how your business is performing and then make those kind of data driven decisions like, hey, it's time for a post. I think that's brilliant. I also wonder, and you guys can let me know if anybody's tried the new growth analyst from GlossGenius yet, because that's another feature that's changing the game for giving you insights into your business and to push you in the right direction. Tony, yes, it's nice and helpful to push you. We love that. Amazing. Kelsey is in there too. Yes. So for folks who maybe are on the platform, haven't tried it out yet, definitely check out the growth analyst, which is new in GlossGenius Analytics and can really help you to take some suggestions into account that will actually grow your business. So yeah, I love that you guys are using that one. Cool. Well, I have to mention, this was something, Morgan, that came up in our initial conversation, that you've gotten a little bit firmer about your no-show policy as your business has grown. Why is that a must for a viral brand like yours?
If you don't respect your own time, your clients are not going to respect it either. Especially when you're viral, people might book because it's trendy, but you have to have those cancellation fees in place to protect yourself. And GlossGenius has made that super easy to enforce without me having to have that awkward conversation with the person. But the software gets to be the bad guy and I can still be the best friend. So I love that.
We love that too. So that's such a great way to put it. I know Jordan here asked a question, which does come up from time to time. Morgan, give us your honest take. Jordan said, do you ever give exceptions for cancellations? Ever?
Yeah. If it's one of my regulars and I've had her for a long time and she's like, girl, I'm on my deathbed, I have the flu. I'm like, okay. Like, it's fine. And it also kind of depends, I guess, on if they're a regular, if it's their first time. So I think every situation's different. You really just have to, yeah.
Yeah. But the good news is you've got the card on file, right? You're set up.
Yes.
You're taking the deposit, you're protected. So, when the worst happens, which it does from time to time, you're able to, enact your no-show policies, your cancellation policies. I think it's just really important, to your point, Morgan, you can keep being the good guy. You've got, your policies in place that protect you. And then you can use your judgment, right? For those like edge cases and things that come up, which I think is amazing. Well, we're about to launch into a really exciting Q&A section. So I know folks here have shared a few questions and we'll definitely pose more to Morgan. I know I promised you guys some more information about how to get started with GlossGenius. So I want to give you a little detail on that right now. So for those of you who have not made the leap to GlossGenius yet, like Morgan did when she got tired of all those square fees and things not being perfect over there, you can learn more by scanning this QR code. So I would highly recommend, if you're able to, scan this QR code and book a free demo with a member of our team. What's really cool about this is you get somebody who can really walk you through every question that you have, teach you everything that you want to know about the platform, and then also help you get set up if and when you decide to make that jump. So I know I mentioned our free data transfer, and then also our salespeople are a great resource, and they'll spend time with you, really getting your business to where you want it to go. To reiterate, GlossGenius is all about automating the manual and helping you grow more with so much less of the busy work. We've, helped amazing folks like Morgan grow their brand. And, obviously Morgan has all the magic. We're just there supporting her and being the bad guy, like she mentioned. That's a big part of success too, right? So highly recommend checking it out. And if you're having any trouble with the QR code, I'm also dropping a quick link for you guys in the chat. Let me know if you see that. It's maybe being a little funny for me today. Oh, it might be funny. Hold on one second. I'll send it to my team. Maybe they can do it if it will let me. Maybe not. Maybe today's not the day for link dropping in the chat for me. But either way, scan the QR, and we'll also be sending the recording of this webinar via a follow-up email, as well as a link to do this too, and to schedule that demo if you're interested. So highly recommend checking it out if you guys have a second. But with that, all that stuff's real fun, but let's talk to Morgan. Good news is we have some time. So if anybody has any questions for Morgan or questions about GlossGenius, please drop them in the chat. We'd love to answer some questions for you. And with that, someone asked, I see this great question. I believe her name is Emma Martha. Do you batch content, Morgan? And how do you stay consistent with marketing? Obviously, again, super time consuming. So how do you think about getting all that done?
So I definitely do stack content. However, some days or some weeks I just can't. Typically I'll book like TikTok specific models and they'll come in, like I'll have maybe 2 a week. And so I'll do 2 videos a week. But if I know like I'm going on vacation or something, I will stack, but usually everything's pretty much in real time. So
yeah, I like that. Kind of when inspiration strikes is kind of a
yeah.
too. I love that. Great. Okay, let me look at some other questions here. Gina asked a question, why does GlossGenius have to be in the URL? It's an interesting one, Gina, and certainly one that we've gotten feedback about before as like a feature request. So we can document that down for the team. Totally fair. Thank you for your question. And then Sierra asked a quick question on GlossGenius and what kind of platform we have for clients to go and find service providers. So right now, GlossGenius doesn't have a marketplace, but we're all about basically elevating the individual brand versus pitting people against each other in a marketplace. Our hope is not to have one and done clients that are going to be then looking, to your neighbor or to the next best thing, but people that are finding you organically through really beautiful optimized websites and great marketing and features like Reserve with Google, rather than those who are maybe hopping around to different service providers. So that's our philosophy there, Sierra. But again, I think it's a feature request we do hear from time to time. So we'll absolutely document that down, and we're always accepting feedback. So we appreciate your question. Another question. This one's for Morgan. Morgan, I don't know if you know the name. Which website theme are you using for GlossGenius? She says, I like the way it looks, but it looks different than mine. Do you have that? Yeah, let's see. But Adrian, to your point, there is a lot of customization available. So I'd always recommend, taking a deep dive and playing around with the various options, accent colors, fonts. The cool thing is there's so many different options and permutations of all those options. So yeah.
I use Zen.
Ooh, Zen. Okay. Love that. All right, guys, keep dropping those questions. Jacqueline had a question around buy now, pay later and how that's been working for you. Morgan, has that been a helpful feature? I know we were chatting a little bit about how it's been on your site, but curious your take on it.
Oh yeah, it is actually it's really helped. I've had quite a few people taking advantage of that, and I definitely see it becoming more and more useful. But yeah, it's been a great tool.
Yeah, I love that. And, I think it's up to the individual owner, right? If that's something that you want to turn off or on, the good news is it's toggleable. So it's not something you have to have. But I do think that, to Morgan's point, it's something that's been really helping a lot of business owners. And I know I shared this before, but, the 3 times higher tickets on average is a real stat. That's something that we've seen since this feature has become available. It just really helps people book into those higher cost services in particular. The other thing I would just share, and Morgan, I don't know if you've experimented with this yet, but memberships and packages plus BNPL is like a really killer combo, right? Because you can sell these bigger packages, suites of services, or memberships. You get a lot of revenue up front, and clients feel very comfortable doing it because they can pay over time. So something to consider. Morgan, have you dabbled in the memberships and packages yet?
No, I haven't done that yet, but that's definitely something that I would love to start. Think
Yeah.
about ideas for that. But yeah, that's true about the whole buy now, pay later thing with that. That would be a great opportunity for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Watch this space. Memberships and packages from Morgan coming soon. I think I'm curious to see. I'm sure it'll be very creative. Um, Amazing. Okay, Jamaica asks a question. How often do you send email and text marketing?
I guess maybe once a month. If there's a holiday coming, like around Christmas time, I did a little bit more frequently because I mean Black Friday happened, it was Thanksgiving, Christmas, all things they all happened pretty close together. So I would say roughly once a month, but if it's the holiday season, definitely more.
Yeah, no, definitely something I've heard from other providers too is like really capitalizing on those seasonal moments. So
Hmm.
definitely always recommend thinking about, the year ahead, the holidays that are coming up, and how maybe your brand can activate around those big holiday moments like Black Friday, like Valentine's Day. Um, and those can be great opportunities to kind of have a timely outreach to clients. So, yeah, amazing point. Okay, more questions. Okay, Ariel asked an interesting one, and I have to say, Morgan, your professional photo shoots are really cool. So I understand why she's asking. How often do you do or sort of invest in professional photo shoots for your brand?
So typically just once a year, but this photo right here that's on that is actually for my podcast.
Nice.
And one of my friends is actually a photographer, and I'll message her like literally a week before I need photos done, and I'll be like, hey, do you think you can take pictures of me like this? And she'll be like, sure. So I've done several photo shoots this year, actually, which is so out of the norm for me, but I love it. It's so much fun.
Yeah, that's great. I feel like it's one of those things that, investing in on some cadence, I'm sure is super helpful for marketing and kind of getting certain aspects of your branding set up. So that's a great one to cover. Okay, couple more questions here. Emma Martha asked a follow-up question on your marketing, and I know you mentioned securing models. When you get models, do you discount their service? Is it free for them? People have some questions about model and how you manage that.
So typically what I do is I'll just post either an Instagram story or just a regular post of time slots that I have for the month. And they are discounted. I do a pretty heavy discount because my light is going to be on during the, content. So
Right.
yeah, I usually do, like I said earlier, about 2 or 3 a week. And those usually get filled up pretty fast because everybody wants to everybody wants to do it. So yeah.
Love that. Um, all right, guys. Well, keep questions coming. And really quickly, I want to give Morgan the opportunity to, as we get closer to time, share a little bit more about where we can find her and what's coming from Morgan and her brand and her podcast and all of the cool things she has going on. So, Morgan, tell everybody in the audience, where else can they find you? What else is coming that we should be on the lookout for?
So you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Skincare with Morgan. And then I am on YouTube now, Skincare with Morgan, or my tag is Skincare with Morgan, period. And actually, today I just released my first online course.
Congrats.
It's kind of like a continuing education course for estheticians that want to learn my in detail facial routine. I go over my back treatment protocol and do a little bit of my ASMR filming setup as well and show my treatment room and just kind of chat about what it's like being an esthetician. So if you're interested, that's available now.
Oh my gosh. And Spa Day podcast,
Oh
highly recommend.
yeah.
I've been checking it out a little bit too. So that's amazing. Morgan is everywhere, guys, and it sounds like this training will be a very cool continuation of some of the things we talked about tonight. So highly recommend checking it out. Um, Really quickly before we go, let me see if we have any more questions to cover. And guys, this is your last chance, so share questions while you have them. But before we log out too, I want to just remind everybody again, highly recommend checking out the features of GlossGenius for yourself. Obviously, me sharing them and Morgan sharing her perspectives is one thing, but really testing it out for yourself and your business is another. Definitely check out the demo opportunity, scan the QR, and schedule a time that's convenient with you. And you'll really get that dedicated support someone who will show you how everything works and, really work with you on the way that GlossGenius can bring your brand into an even better light. So highly recommend. I am double checking for any last questions, but it seems like we're slowing down. So I want to thank everybody for your time. We really appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us today and hope this was helpful. We'll follow up with the recording and with some other helpful links. But thank you all for an amazing event. This was so much fun. And thank you, Morgan. We couldn't be more grateful to have you here. This was awesome.
This was so much fun. I loved it.
Yay. Everybody give Morgan a big thank you. And we will hopefully see you the next time. So fun as always. And enjoy the rest of your evening or afternoon wherever you are. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys.